turnaround. Sergio Perez is staying with Red Bull? What an amazing season so far for Red Bull, huh? Both of their drivers have been amazing, as the team has prolonged the lead from Ferrari in both drivers and constructors championships. Max Verstappen has had his streak ended in Monaco, however, of winning every race that he has finished so far in 2022. But there is some good news behind this, as the streak breaker was his teammate Sergio Perez. Plus, he was able to finish in front of Leclerc, as this enabled him to prolong the lead to 9 points. Leclerc is having some serious issues too from the back of the table, as Perez is only 6 points behind him. The Mexican driver has been phenomenal in his second year at Red Bull, and the previous 2 races were a true rollercoaster for him. After Barcelona GP, almost everyone was sure that Perez would leave the team due to the team's order he had to obey in the race. However, after Monaco, it seems like there's been a huge turnaround of events, and Checo himself may have hinted at that too. So, what's the fate of the Minister of Defense in Red Bull? First, let's talk about the role of Perez in Red Bull. When he arrived at the team, nobody believed that he would be a championship caliber guy. Many of the F1 fans called him the next Bottas, as it was already clear that Red Bull have set their thoughts on making Verstappen the next big wonder after Vettel. After all, who could blame them? The guy was the only challenger Hamilton had last year, and although under controversial circumstances, he has managed to win his maiden championship in a car that was surely slower compared to Mercedes. Perez's first season in Red Bull has gone on a modest track, as he was still learning about the nuts and bolts of the Red Bull's car. However, 2022 is a very different season, and due to the new regulations, the talents and knowledge of an F1 driver are very crucial for a good performance. Cars are now heavier, with bigger tyres that are harder to warm up, and there's the phenomenon of porpoising that has Mercedes underperforming throughout the whole season, up until Barcelona. So, many believe that Checo would have a sincere shot at the championship this year. That is, if Red Bull provided him with the right car and right setup. The first race was one to forget for both drivers, as they failed to finish due to reliability issues of the car. However, this isn't necessarily bad news for Checo, as both drivers had it and there wasn't any suggestion that Red Bull has played favourites when it comes to car setups. Moreover, the Australian GP saw Verstappen DNF due to the fuel pump issue, as Checo didn't have this problem and finished P2. True, his car lost power in Miami GP and he lost around 8 seconds to Sainz while being so close to overtaking, which eventually cost him a shot at the 3rd place. But so far it seems like Perez and Verstappen have been given an equal fight for the number 1 spot in the team. We're still in Miami, don't worry. Now, let's visit Circuit de Barcelona and give a quick glance at the events that perspired there. Checo has already had a problem with his car losing a sudden amount of power, so Barcelona GP should be perfect for him. After Verstappen spun in turn 4, he entered the track behind Perez and Russell. Perez was chasing the Brit, but was given a team order to let Max go, as they are on different strategies. Perez obeyed and entered the pit for new tyres, as Max wasn't able to pass George due to the DRS swing not opening properly. However, Perez was catching up quickly to both of them, and as soon as he caught them, he asked the team to move Max out of the way so he could pass properly. The engineer briefly told him, "Stay back, we're on different strategies." Luckily, Verstappen entered the pit and Perez had a clear track of passing George. But when he passed him and when the Brit entered for new tyres, Max was behind Perez. True, he was much faster, but the team gave the order to Checo to let Max pass him. Perez said, "That's not fair, but okay." Even when the race ended, he said, "I'm happy for the team, but we needed to talk later." It's very early in the season, and to give team orders in race 6 is something that will surely not sit right with the driver. However, Leclerc was out due to reliability issues of his car, and this was the chance for Verstappen to take the lead if Leclerc fails to finish. Even Red Bull fans were angry about the team orders, as they believed that the team should have let them race fair and square. There is also the possibility of a double DNF due to a crash, and one could say that the decision was right because of the base that Verstappen had, but team orders on such an experienced driver could crush his spirits and his motivation. On to Monaco we go. From the beginning of the race weekend, Checo was constantly faster than Verstappen. He qualified in front of him, and when the undercut was performed from their side, he managed to exit P1 ahead of the Ferrari of Sainz. Verstappen has also managed to overtake Leclerc in the pits as he exited P3. What's very interesting is that Perez had a short and brief talk with Horner when the race was over, as he was seen mounting the words, "I signed too early." Of course, that there isn't 100% of validation that he said these words, and the team hasn't approved it yet. But there is a very high possibility that the Mexican has decided to stay another year or two in Red Bull. So, how did Red Bull manage to keep their Minister of Defense on their team? Promising a huge paycheck wouldn't do it, as Perez isn't a 20-year-old rookie who wants to prove himself. He has already shown the world that he can race, and it's the championship title that is in his mind. It is very possible that the team has offered him a fair and square battle until the very end of the season, which was only amplified by the results in Monaco. True, the race itself doesn't provide much overtaking, and racing there is mostly dull, but he still managed to outperform both the Ferraris and his teammate, the reigning champion. So, is there a chance for Perez to fight for the championship after all these years in F1? The short and simple answer is, yes, he does. After all, why not? He has a championship car, the experience is there, the difference between him and the leader is minimal, and if the team has promised him a fair and square battle, there aren't any obstacles on the way. But there seems to be one problem that could hold the Mexican from his championship dreams, and that is his pace. Yeah, he is a great driver and he performs extremely well on the weekends, but there seems to be quite a margin between him and, for example, Leclerc and Verstappen. You cannot always bet on the undercut or the bad strategies from other teams. The driver itself needs to have the proper knowledge to win championships. Perez is very good when it comes to conserving tyres, enabling him to work on different and more effective strategies, but it doesn't seem like he has the generational talent that Verstappen and Leclerc do. The age so far wouldn't be a problem, but when both of the Red Bull drivers were set to race so far, it seemed like Verstappen was in his own league. Car setups also have a huge meaning in this story, so we should wait until Baku to see its true performance of Perez, and is there any truth behind these rumours? Perez won in Baku last year, but his win was more of a lucky one due to Hamilton's brake failure and Verstappen's DNF. So, it seems like this year we'll have some interesting fight between both drivers from Red Bull and Leclerc from Ferrari, as we're heading to Azerbaijan on the 12th of June.